Amy from She Cooks, She Eats.
And I'm Ashley from Peach Trees and Bumblebees. And we're going to show you how to make ganache.
Ganache has always been my kind of Achilles heel when it comes to cooking. I've tried to make ganache cover cakes so many times, it's never worked. However, Ashley says she's a bit of a ganache connoisseur, so she's going to teach you and me how to make ganache today.
It's really very simple. I think the main reason that ganache goes wrong for a lot of people is when the cream gets too hot and it causes the whole mixture to split and it looks kind of grainy and a bit blur. Whereas the way I do it, you never heat the cream sort of beyond sort of blood temperature, so sort of finger hot, and the cream itself then melts the chocolate without no muss, no fuss.
So to make the ganache we are using some intense high cocoa cooking chocolate that Lynn sent us.
And some regular double cream.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Amazing.
It's so simple. Start with double cream. With ganache you can really, I mean, if you look up recipes online you'll find people using different quantities of chocolate for different quantities of cream. The ratio is variable for lots of different people. I tend to stick with half and half, so sort of 200 grams of chocolate for 200 mils of ganache. But it sort of depends what you're making. So if you need a runnier ganache for something, if you're going to pour it, then I would go with more cream. Or if you need a stiffer one, I would go with slightly more chocolate. For this one, because we've got 200 grams of chocolate, we're going to use 200 mils of double cream. So I'll have to measure that out now. And put it into a small saucepan. I put that saucepan on a sort of medium heat. So on my hob, I've got 12 dials and I put it on about 6, so around sort of midway would be good. And you basically just want to warming that cream through till you can still keep your finger in it, so it's not too hot, but it is sufficiently warm to melt the chocolate. I mean, chocolate melts at body temperature, so if it's sort of 37 degrees then you're away laughing, but if it's about sort of 40, 45 degrees. So make sure you definitely wash your hands before you do this, because I obviously have, and just you want to be sort of dipping your finger in it quite regularly so that you don't, suddenly go in after 5 minutes and find it's boiling. And then wash your hands after you click them. And just keep testing it to make sure it never gets too hot. But my dad and I made profiteroles recently, and he made this chocolate sauce with sort of Grand Marnier and orange in it, and it was really beautiful apart from the fact that he overheated the cream and the whole thing split. So it was a ganache, but it was a bit of a disaster, and it kind of ruined them.
It was ganasty.
So yeah, don't overheat the cream. You can do this over a bain-marie if you feel like you're worried it might get too hot, but I kind of think it's a bit of a waste of time. Like, it's just as easy to do it carefully and gently on a low heat. Okay, so it's starting to get warm now, so it's not quite there yet, but you can definitely feel it's sort of tepid. So it's warm to the touch, and you can keep your finger in there for a long time. Don't touch the bottom of the pan though, because that's pretty hot. Yeah, it's about right now. Amy has very helpfully already broken up the chocolate. This is quite essential because it's what helps it melt because it's smaller. And then you quite simply turn the heat off. Pour it over the top. And just make sure you get all the cream in there, because why wouldn't you want it? Just make sure the chocolate's all covered.
Yeah, stir the chocolate, or do you just leave it?
Yeah, leave it. These are quite big chunks of chocolate. Whereas if you use a thinner cooking chocolate and you can break it up into even smaller pieces, then it will melt more quickly. But this shouldn't take too long at all.
How long should it take to melt?
I would say it should take about between 5 and 10 minutes. If you find that your cream has cooled down and you're not convinced it's properly melting, you can put it in the microwave for sort of 10-second bursts, just so that you get that cream sort of that blood temperature again. But if you're patient, it should be okay. But it's okay to cheat and put it in the microwave.
So how do you tell when this is done?
Well, it's kind of a trial and error thing. You have to just sort of feel for it. You can stick your finger in, and if you can feel any big lumps of chocolate, then leave it to continue to melt on its own. But if you can take your finger in and you can't feel any lumps of chocolate, then you can start whisking it, which is the fun bit. So I just use a little tiny weeny whisk, and you literally just put your whisk in and start to whisk it together. So you see it starts coming together like that. It's quite fun. And then you carry on whisking. You can see it's changed again. So as you can see, it completely changes its character and
That's
consistency.
amazing. It's like a magic trick.
Exactly. It is a magic trick. I like to use a silicone whisk because it's easy to scrape around the edges of the bowl with it. You can kind of use it as a bowl scrapey spatula thing. And then you get to this point here, and you have ganache.
Amazing.
You can use it in its current consistency. That will, I think that would successfully cover a cake. You might want to leave it to cool for a little bit. If you leave it to cool further, it becomes the right consistency for truffles. And it does freeze. So you can keep it for, I think I was up to about 3 months. In the freezer, I normally freeze it in a piping bag and then take it out the day before I want to use it, and then you can pipe with it. If you leave it to cool a bit further, then you can pipe quite pretty little things with it. But yeah, it's very versatile, not difficult, and it's all about not getting the cream too hot, so you get this fantastically glossy, chocolatey, definitely not fattening at all,
No,
mixture.
totally good for you.
Very important that you try it.
Yes, good chef's taste.
That's really special.
It really is.
It's tasty, right?
Delicious.
And so simple. 2 ingredients. What, about 10-15 minutes door to door?
And it's lush.
And it's pretty lush. You can also add things to it. You could add
Orange zest?
orange zest, yep. You could add whiskey. Lots of different alcohols you can add it. Just add them in sort of as you mix it up from the cream and the chocolate combination. Do you feel like you might be able to attempt ganache on your own now?
I think I will. I think I could give this a go, definitely.
See you next time. Bye!